I would rather die from a car-plane crash than live with injuries that would last a lifetime. Like brain damage, amputations, etc. I've heard of PPL surviving serious crashes but having to lose limbs, or their brain was damaged to the point they couldn't function properly. I would rather be dead than have to live the rest of my life that way. I would spend too much time being depressed thinking about all the things I could no longer do that I was able to do before. I guess it depends on the injury. Personally, if I can still live a fulfilling life, I'd rather be alive. But if I'm completely disabled physically and mentally, I can understand that. This is an interesting discussion to have about how much harm your body must endure before you'd call it quits. I'm much more on the end of just ending it if life becomes unenjoyable. For me, that would include losing both arms, going blind, full body paralysis, etc. Yeah, sometimes when I hear you are lucky to be alive, some people it's no, you fucking aren't. Depends on the degree of the injury and type of injury. For example, I feel like I could lose a couple of limbs and be fine. But if I was fully paralyzed, kill me. Brain stuff? Absolutely. Chronic pain from an inoperable back injury? I get it too. But lose a leg? Nah, I'll keep going. No big deal. I'd rather die than brain damage or get paralyzed from the neck chest down. But if just one limb or even paraplegia and I can still live a good life, then I'd choose life. When it comes to planes, I feel like either everyone dies or everyone is fine, with a couple people having minor injuries at most. There's no in between. It's funny that people say this, myself included, but if we were actually on the pavement with critical injuries, we do everything we could do to survive in that moment. Depends on the severity. If I lose a finger, oh well. But if I lose my senses such as hearing or I'm paralyzed, then yeah, kill me. I'm an Army helicopter pilot. I have had this discussion with my fellow aviators many times. The consensus is that we would rather die than live with debilitating injuries. Especially considering one of those injuries is likely to be terrible burns. This is a relatively common sentiment, and I believe contributes to so much inspiration porn. Exactly. Most people's greatest fear is death, dying. But mine is becoming paralyzed, severely injured, maimed, blinded, etc. and surviving. Sir, it's just an ankle sprain. I don't I said kill me. I think it heavily depends on the injury. Brain injury that is serious and affects personality or thinking capacity? Probably would prefer to be dead. Injury to my hands that prevents me from doing stuff I love? Probably would prefer to be dead. Injury to my legs? Maybe okay. Depends on how serious it is. This was the reason I decided to pull the plug on my father, who was dying of a terrible motorcycle accident. He would not have wanted to live like that. And he didn't. Unless it somehow greatly hinders me from living a fulfilling life or causes extreme daily pain, I would rather just learn to live with it. Lieutenant Dan has entered the chat. Depends on the degree of injury. But if I could still live and be alive to see my daughter grow and be happy, I'd want to stick around to see that. If it was severe brain injury that took away my comprehension, that might be different. But I'd give up limbs and mobility to see my daughter for as long as possible before dying. I don't want to pay the damn medical debt. If you hit me hard enough, I have to go the hospital. Just take me out, man. I don't want to spend my entire life in severe debt or trapped in my own body, not able to move. I could stand losing a leg. Going deaf maybe, but being a complete paraplegic, blind, losing an arm would have going like, yeah, kill me. This is why I have an advance directive, and I'm glad I live in a place where doctor prescribed Suicide is legal for people suffering with pain that have a terminal condition. But for other things, I guess it would depend. Like if I lost a couple fingers or hand. Whatever. If I become mental deficient, I wouldn't want to be a burden on my husband. As someone who survived a pretty bad motorcycle accident, this really hits. I often tell myself I died that day and this is actually hell. The depression, PTSD, nightmares, as well as the deformities and physical pain that'll last for the rest of my life aren't worth it. I could live with some level of injury. I already have rheumatoid arthritis, so I live with pain most days and I have some limitations. As long as I could live independently, I'd be okay. Cognitive disabilities though? No thank you. Been saying this my whole adult life. I hope to go out in a flash. Be it a massive crash or simply just dying in my sleep. Fuck living many years with a debilitating illness and or injury. Death is death. You will no longer be able to do anything. If you are alive but not able to live, this is an euthanasia argument. This made me think of the coach on Yellow Jackets. I have a friend who specifically told me if he could choose how he dies, it would be a plane crash. He would instantly accept fate and watch the panic around him because it's likely the only time you'd ever witness that in life. I agree, but also my entire family hates when I say shit like this, so I'ma assume it's unpopular tears of joy. Yeah, it would be bad. But I genuinely think it would be more okay than people imagine. Obviously it would be a tragedy. But plenty of disabled PPL live foofying lives in bodies like the ones you described. I hope this whole thought exercise gives everyone reading it a greater appreciation for how strong our disabled brothers and sisters and siblings too must be. Oh, me too, that's not unpopular, that's just basic economics. Being alive in misery versus being dead and not feeling shit. Which one do you think I'm gonna fucking pick, lol? I would rather die than live. Don't mind me. I agree mostly. Depends on the severity. Me and the wife have agreement. If one of us is so covered with burns that we need life support, then it's been a good life and let us go. Completely agree. I love to be very physically active. If I can't be that anymore, well, no way in hell I am just gonna sit in a wheelchair and read all day. If the accident doesn't kill me, I will end it then XD. Completely agree. I love to be very physically active. If I can't be that anymore, well, no way in hell I am just gonna sit in a wheelchair and read all day. If the accident doesn't kill me, I will end it then XD. I met a guy once who was injured while riding his motorcycle and lost complete control of one of his arms. He still had the arm but couldn't use it at all. He made a comment that has stuck with me. That people are willing to die when they have higher risk hobbies. But not a lot of people are prepared to keep living with permanent lasting injuries. I couldn't handle being blind. If I'm a vegetable, I don't want to be forced to survive. Depends on the amputation. Arms? That's extremely inconvenient and IDK how people adapt. Legs? After I learn balance I should be good. Brain injury? Put me out. For me it depends. I would rather lose an arm than die, but I would rather die than become brain dead. And if you're American, crippling debt. Not an unpopular opinion. Euthanasia is a thing. You don't know that until you're in that position. My brother was paralyzed in an auto accident when he was 18. Before the accident, he was 2 weeks away from starting college on a full-ride basketball scholarship. He lived until he was 57. Never say never. That's sad to hear. Good luck out there. It's weird saying what you would having not actually been through it. You probably have no idea how you would feel until it happens. Or you'd learn to live with it.